the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we can do a roll call. Mr. Carroll, Ms. Chambers, here. Mr. Wynn, here. Ms. Kemper, here. Ms. Wingo, here. Mr. Osborne, here. We have a quorum. First item for approval is the minutes of the special meeting of January 30th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve? So moved. Ms. Wingo? Second. Second, Mr. Wynn. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a second reading of Ordinance O-1-2024. It's an ordinance amending Ordinance O-30-94 and adopting an investment policy to govern investment of funds by the City of Florence, Kentucky. As required by KRS 66.480, this ordinance adopts an official policy to govern investment of funds of the City of Florence. The policy designates the designated officials of the city authorized to oversee investments, lists permitted types of investments, establishes procedures for monitoring investments, establishes standards for diversification of investments, and requires periodic reporting of the status of invested funds. Ordinance O-1-2024 includes the changes to KRS 66.480, which outlines the types of investments which are permitted by municipalities and governmental entities. Ordinance O-1-2024 for the most part follows the model investment policy recommended by the Kentucky League of Cities. The full text of Ordinance O-1-2024, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the office of the City Clerk of the City of Florence, Kentucky, 8100 Ewing Boulevard, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Osborne? Second. Second, Ms. Wingo. Any discussion? We did discuss this at prior meetings, and this is the second reading, so. Seeing none, roll call vote, please. Ms. Chambers? Yes. Mr. Wynn?
Yes.
Ms. Kemper? Yes. Ms. Wingo? Yes. Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Next up, we have a second reading for Ordinance O-2-2024. An ordinance adopting and approving a change of a concept development plan in a commercial 2 plan development zone for an approximate 11.82 acre site located on the northeast corner of the US 42 Farmview Drive intersection and the southeast corner of the old US 42 Farmview Drive intersection, Florence and Union, Kentucky, to allow an approximate 56,000 square foot grocery store with an attached liquor store and drive-thru pharmacy, along with 2 outlots for retail service and/or eating and drinking establishment uses. Farmview Commons LLC. The effect of this ordinance is to allow an approximate 56,000 square foot grocery store with an attached liquor store and drive-thru pharmacy, along with 2 outlots for retail service and/or eating or drinking establishment uses on an approximately 11.82 acre site located on the northeast corner of US 42 Farmview Drive intersection and the southeast corner of the old US 42 Farmview Drive intersection, Florence and Union, Kentucky, in a commercial 2 plan development C2 PD zone. The full text of Ordinance O-2-2024, including its exhibits, is available for examination in the office of the City Clerk of the City of Florence, Kentucky, at the Florence Government Center, 8100 Ewing Boulevard, during regular office hours. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Ms. Wingo?
Second.
Mr. Wynn? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please. Ms. Chambers? No. Mr. Wynn?
Yes.
Ms. Kemper? Yes. Ms. Wingo? Yes. Mr. Osborne?
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 4-1. Thank you. Next is a discussion for annexation of certain territory consisting of a parcel of approximately 1.194 acres and 4.127 acres located at 1 Gridiron Lane adjacent to the city limits. That's the Boone County PeeWee Athletic Association. And Mr. Hunt, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I sure do. Where's my PDF also? There we go, thank you. Yep, that's all we need, that works. We've discussed this before in the past, but just to be in compliance with House Bill 141, we wanted to have a formal discussion, and then after this, there'll be 2 ordinance readings as with all annexations. So just go over real quick again. The parcels identified in red are what is being annexed into the City of Florence. That yellow parcel that you can barely see is already in the City of Florence. Actually, everything else on the map that you can see is within the City of Florence. For whatever reason, those 2 parcels in red were non-incorporated Boone County. Boone County PeeWee Athletic Association has consented to annex in. Per my memo, that notification was sent to Judge Executive Gary Moore from the mayor, indicating that there will be annexation taking place. He has replied back that they're fine with it. That does comply with the current freeze on annexations and the rules that you have to follow for all annexes that take place in the state of Kentucky right now. So that's it. We talked about before, so if there's any questions, happy to answer those. And then from here, we'll do 2 ordinance readings, and then there's an MO for the other portion of this deal, which is a run.
There'll be no action tonight.
Correct.
So if there's any questions.
Can I find it?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we at with the loan?
Where we're at with the loan. So, Mr. Nienaber, we finally received comments back from Boone County PeeWee's attorney.
Yes, we did. We
So-
received those today.
Yep, so working on the closing documents. Last step is we've got to sit down with Lynn and go through, make sure everything is good from the payment schedule perspective and look at that. And then we'll set a closing date. We have to pass an MO for the mayor to close on it. So we'll do that in conjunction with one of these annexation readings, and then we'll set a closing date. We'll be ready to move forward. They're excited, and I know that they're working on, of course, Chief knows more about it than I do, but they're working on getting everything scheduled for the construction of that field.
Does the Boone County PeeWee own all 3 of those parcels?
They do. Yep. It's about, I think, 10 acres total, somewhere there.
Yeah, around that,
Yeah.
11 something, 11
Yeah.
and change.
11.82.
Oh,
11.82 it says.
okay.
Approximate.
Approximately.
11.82.
Always put approximate in there. All right.
All right. All right, and then for the mayor's report. You have a few more days to complete your online survey for the Parks Master Plan. February 9th is the deadline, so it'll be here before you know it. We have really gotten a lot of responses. Eric, do you have any idea what the latest tally is?
So we're getting close to 600 was the last I'd heard, which is excellent based on what other surveys have brought in. And then there's a lot of action on the website as far as individuals going to each individual park and putting things that they like or dislike or areas for improvement. There's been a lot of participation there. And then there's also kind of where you can just put kind of post-its and make comment about things. And there's a ton of those too. So we're getting a lot of great feedback. The event we had on the 31st where the public could come and join in and see what we're doing. We got some good participation there. And everybody, you know, seems to be excited about this and showing some energy towards it. So.
Yes.
I was at that event. A few observations I made I just wanted to talk about. Number one, I spoke with the design for both design firms, and it just kind of threw me that we have all the parks represented except for a great big asset in the city that would be considered parks, which would be the aquatic center. So I saw one of the suggestions of would people like to see aquatic lessons. So I asked about that, and I said, well, we already have swim lessons, and you need the aquatic center there in order to provide those lessons. So what do you mean by aquatic lessons? And they said, well, like maybe some fitness classes, which I think is super, super awesome idea. But I just asked, like the skate park has a big board asking what people would like to see added to it or changed about it, like lights, and you know, there were lots of suggestions on the skate park, but I just question why the aquatic center didn't have the same treatment, especially with Coney Island closing. I think we're gonna get slammed. And so I just am curious what we're doing, staff and council-wise, to take a real hard look at, you know, do we need to look at expansions or things that could help eliminate kids in the water at all times? Like, could we add a basketball court, or could we add, you know, something where they can also do something besides swimming in that facility? Because I think as the demand is there, we're gonna have to start reconsidering a master plan on that as well. And to me, that falls under parks. So I'm just curious why that's being overlooked.
So, and we talked about this in the budget retreat. So I guess let's start with why we selected the 6 parks. So the 6 parks we selected are open year round, and we consider them active parks. So what the Aquatic Center being different, it's open 10 weeks out of the year. I'm not saying it shouldn't be studied or shouldn't be evaluated. If you guys deem that's appropriate, we do a whole different master plan focusing solely on that. Coney Island just closed, so that's new. That would have been prior to any decisions you guys have already made. And the impact that's going to make, I think that's still to be determined. You know, we'll see. If we get slammed this year, that's not a bad thing. That tells us we need to make improvements to the Aquatic Center. So I'm not opposed to that, but the reason it was left out is because we focused on the 6 active parks that are open year-round, and that's kind of when it was presented at the budget retreat, that was the focus at the time. So I'm more than happy to look at the Aquatic Center or water golf, whatever, you know, whatever you guys decide. But that's why we landed on those 6 parks.
And that makes sense. What year was that would have been?
This past.
At the budget retreat this year.
That you took that part.
Yeah, I was part of that, but I don't remember us saying we aren't looking at the Aquatic Center in the parks. I don't remember that. If it was said, I apologize, but I just felt like when we talked about the master plan at the budget retreat, it was something that was already in motion. Like, it was already something that was before my time of what parks were decided and such. I just remember it being like, oh yeah, we have this master plan. So I don't remember a discussion around how the master plan came about. I was under the impression that was before my time.
Yeah, so at the budget retreat, I presented funding for you guys to entertain and approve to start this master plan on these 6 parks.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I remember the budget being approved for the master plan. I'm just curious, I don't remember us saying which specific parks. I'm not sure.
Well, I too was surprised that the master plan, along with improving our existing parks, didn't include more talk about what we could do with some of our empty spaces. So I agree with Jenna. There wasn't a lot of, like, when this was all rolled out, I was surprised by many things. So
yeah.
So I would just comment back. I didn't hear that any comments about that when we went to talk about it at the budget retreat. But one of the other things about these 6 parks is we do not charge any admission. There's no fees associated with any of these parks. So these are open public access. There's not a fee, whereas you would have to pay to golf, or you would have to pay for the Aquatic Center. We're in special meeting, so we're veering a little off topic, but I think what we can do is sit down and talk about maybe a work plan for reviewing the Aquatic Center. But keep in mind too, any undertaking such as this, it's a big task for staff. It just occupies a lot of staff hours. And to throw into another level of the Aquatic Center, which is this, you know, larger thing, is it would really almost make this master planning process too cumbersome and to navigate through. So maybe just separating it out and handling it on its own makes more sense. I know they want to plan their work in that department, and they have other obligations to do as well. And so that was his recommendation. Is that correct, Aaron?
Absolutely. The Aquatic Center wasn't funded, so that wouldn't have been part of that proposal. So if we added it now, we would have to go back and figure out what that would cost, and there'd be a budget amendment, and it would definitely, you know, managing it. I would just, if that's something that the council desires, then we could draft that up and have that ready for the upcoming budget retreat.
Thank you.
On Monday, February 19th, we are going to celebrate President's Day. Our offices are going to be open because we have a fabulous display out there. We want people to come check that out for the whole week from February 19th through February 23rd from 9 to 4:30 every day. Also encourage everyone to register for our upcoming Book and Literacy Festival. It's on February 23rd and 24th. There'll be children's programming and adult programming on both Friday and Saturday. And Friday evening there will be a Books and Bottles event at the Florence Nature Park Event Center. Registration for the events is online on the city's website and on our Facebook page. Please contact the Administration Department for more information at 859-647-8177. The city did launch our YouTube channel for live streaming city council meetings. The direct link for the channel is on our website, and the channel is called City of Florence, Kentucky, and Kentucky is spelled out. Subscribe to the channel and stay up to date. And watch your mailboxes this week for the 2024 City of Florence Community Guide. This guide is now available for online viewing on our website and through a link on our Facebook page. And that is all of my report. We have no need for a closed session, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Ms. Wingo, second by Mr. Wynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.